an audible on the fly.
I want to just say one thing about the Fletcher spot. I don't think it was intentionally done. I think it was a straight up botch. I see a lot of people, kind of shitting on him for like doing a crazy spot, but I don't think he intended on dropping on the top of his head and neck. I just think he.
No, I agree. Some people make mistakes, but I also think the plan was to have Fletcher win that belt and the tournament.
Have you ever seen a Cobra clutch into a back suplex from the top turnbuckle? There's a reason you probably don't see that spot.
But yeah, no, my conspiracy theory is that Fletcher got hurt during the Moxley match. They had to call something on the fly, and this was Tony trying to do his own thing on the fly. That's my only excuse for this stupid motherfucker today. I think Tony Khan is a complete and utter fucking retard.
Moxley just got the most babyface promo. I won this title for everyone here and everyone
out of nowhere. You feel me? Out of fucking nowhere. They like skipped 7 steps to get to this babyface promo and shit.
It was a hell of a babyface promo. I'll give him that. But
everything was just so ass backwards. Tony books. I don't know how he doesn't book in order. Ergo, why I came to the conclusion last night, I think he's just fucking retarded. And I can't, I am not, there's no more excuses we can make for this motherfucker. He is way underqualified for his job. He's not good at his job. He doesn't know how to do his fucking job. I don't know why there are fucking pansies on the internet who sucks his dick and makes him come off as some type of savior of the wrestling business when all he does is kill it even more in his own business, no less. It's fucking stupid. And I'm sorry if the crash out isn't as...
It's really like, even if you look at TNA, some you have this to WWE, but for some reason you got this weird occult worship, this sort of worship toward Tony Khan, which I don't really see a lot with the other promotions.
Occult isn't the fucking word. Again, I compare the AEW shills to MAGA at this fucking point. The fact that they blindly defend this motherfucker no matter what it is. Tony can go rape half of his fucking roster right now, and no one would find a single fucking problem with it. They'll make an excuse for him. They're like, oh well, Tony's got money. They're just making up lies to get him down, or shit like that. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, can we just admit that Tony's bad at his fucking job? He has no idea what he's fucking doing. He's an oversized Nepo child who's happy that he's finally able to get some attention for something other than his fucking bank account. And people need to realize that even in Tony's regular job, he's not that fucking good.
No, not with the Jaguars. He isn't. Like you've seen them call the NFL personalities calling out over that.
But yeah, no. Last night,
JF at this point, or you're going to risk losing him when that contract is up.
No, what was really telling to me is the fact they didn't mention the Dynamite Diamond ring whatsoever, which is telling me the stipulation for him and Bandito is belt versus ring.
Okay, Brandon, humor me. Humor me. Can you explain to me why Okada didn't actually lose the Continental Championship and what is unified and what's not unified? Can you explain that to me?
Wait 1 second. Well, I want to touch on that ring. MJF wore it to the ring. He had it on his finger when he punched the camera coming out to the ring. So he's got a ring, and so does Bandito. So I don't understand what was the point of Bandito winning the ring if MJF still has the ring.
No, I agree. And Corey, I just muted you for a second because of your background. But but they've done nothing to establish that it's a different ring for different winners. You know what I mean? Throughout the entire history of AEW, they've established as the Dynamite Diamond ring just being one thing and for one person. So like the fact that Bandito just randomly won it so he can get a random title shot that he's not going to fucking win. let's all be honest. It was really telling on how this match was going to go. I knew MJF was winning the second he came back, and they didn't mention the Dynamite Diamond ring. But I think that was like one of the few conclusions where you could sit here and be like, all right, that was the right decision. Everything else for AEW in that card, hell no. I'm sorry. Mercedes, I would prefer if Mercedes and Athena won, mainly because of Athena. The conglomeration versus the Death Riders should have been a pre-show match.
That should have been, honestly, that match should have been on Dynamite this week.
Or Dynamite. It definitely shouldn't have been a pay-per-view match. I don't know what the fuck that was.
There was no reason for that. That was just an excuse to throw people on the show. That's what that tag match was.
And if it's up to me, I never want to see Pockets and Tony Storm in a fucking ring together ever again after that match. Never do it again. Don't put those. And it's not even, I don't even want to loop Tony in as with the idiots, but don't put those idiots together no more. Please don't.
I mean, I've been saying that, they did it to protect Hangman as far as giving the belt to Joe and then to MJF. But yeah, if it was going to be a 4-way, you're right. There's no it could have been the same result. MJF could have pinned Joe.
Yeah.
And then I think he did it for shock value.
And really, MJF coming back as a heel and cashing in a 4-way where he's got, 2 more people to contend with us. So that didn't make any sense. And the fact, I don't know.
Yeah,
the whole thing just.
They could have done every single step they were doing, to lead to the 4-way without giving the belt to Joe for a month, just to put it on MJF. And Hangman still didn't have to get pinned because he still could have, Joe could have gotten pinned in the 4-way. He could have dropped the belt. My conspiracy theory on the whole situation is he didn't know MJF was coming back when he did the title switch. It wasn't until a couple weeks after Joe had the belt that MJF told Tony that he was coming back. And that's why they ended up doing the 4-way and they went the way they went. So I think he did panic to get the belt off of Hangman. Or it was just the fact that he wasn't going to give him a 9-month reign. Or something as simple as that. I still don't understand why we're putting the belt on Joe. Like I said, are we doing that just so we could turn Hook heel?
I mean, because Joe had been booked in the mid-card for how long? And all of a sudden they just put the world title on him. It was just random.
Samoa Joe's the kind of guy that you can do both. He's kind of like how Kane was back in the day. Kane could do a mid-card program, and then when you need him in the main event, you could pop him into the main event. And then go back to the mid-card, and it doesn't hurt him at all. Joe's the exact same way. So
I just think in terms of putting the belt on Samoa Joe a month before because we all know he planned on giving MJF this at least around this time. But in terms of just putting the belt on Joe out of nowhere because he realized how bad Hangman was, that everyone like me who was telling him this Hangman run ain't gonna do nothing. It didn't go well the first time. What makes you think you're gonna do it any better?
The only other thing I could think of why they put it on Joe is simply so they could have that full circle moment of him pinning Joe 2 years after he beat MJF for it. So maybe
you know what's funny?
Maybe in Tony's mind, this was long-term storytelling, and that's why.
You know what's funny? After watching that Moxley promo last night, I'm like, oh, Paige should have been the heel, and Moxley should have been the face. That's what they had wrong.
So I just also want to state that right now, this is the most viewed episode of DJ and the Heel ever. Shout out to Main Event Hub for putting us on.
Yeah, we actually are live in both on X, on Twitter, as well as on Facebook in Elite Wrestling Society on Facebook.
Sorry, everyone, that I don't have Facebook. I just don't want my ex to fucking have a way to stalk me.
You can make a dummy account using, DJ of whatever, and we can put you in here. Anyway, so we are currently at 150 views of people right now listening to the show.
We're expanding, mofos.
Yeah, as far as the Moxley thing, his promo. Let's say that was the plan the entire time, right? Let's take your conspiracy out, DJ. Let's say Moxley was winning it the whole time. The promo was happening the whole time. The promo just went completely against what the Death Riders mission statement is. You've been building this NWO-esque group who are going to, disturb the order of AEW and force the people of AEW to step up their game or whatever it was, because we never even really got a full mission statement from them to begin with. And then you just went that this is for everyone. This is for everyone, rah, rah, rah speech. Completely going the opposite direction of what exactly the Death Riders were all about. No explanation. They're standing around clapping. They seem to be in on it. Claudio gave him a hug. The only one not there was Pac. So, I mean, I don't know what they're doing. I'm going to hold it and wait to see what happens on Wednesday and if they follow up with it. But we got what? 3 months to an AEW pay-per-view. So I don't think they're going to bag him on Dynamite. So you're going to tell me we're going to have a babyface Moxley with a tweener Death Riders? Or are we just completely turning the Death Riders babyface for the next 3 months until they go back heel and bag Moxley?
Dude, you don't understand how bad that fucking irritated me watching that promo. Sitting here. Again, everyone who listens to me and knows me knows I can't stand the sight, the existence of John fucking Moxley. I think he's the most overrated, overpushed, oversought out wrestler in the history of fucking ever. Between hearing the Terry Funk fucking comparisons, the Harley Race comparisons, and all this other bullshit.
Steve Austin.
And it's just, like I said, the basically to piggyback off one of the points you made, like the 8-month title reign of terror that we had to deal with, that not only killed interest, killed ratings, killed the people who wanted to give AEW a chance. And they doubled down and tripled down on bad television. And we thought him losing the world title would be the end. And it wasn't. It's been 6 months since, almost 6 months since All In. You're telling me this motherfucker is still on TV, winning championships with the same group, and now they're baby faces. All of them. Not them turning on him, not just him turning babyface. No, the whole group turns babyface out of fucking nowhere. And for all the people who sat here and tried to ride the Death Riders and say, oh, well, you just have to wait it out for the story, or Tony's telling a specific story and he's trying to get the crowd in the group over, blah, blah, blah. I'm not hearing any of this shit no more. Tony don't know what the fuck he's doing. Tony doesn't know a good booking decision if it smacked its dick on his fucking forehead. And he's just going to double down and triple down on every bad idea because he has people in his inner circle telling him that they're great ideas. Sounds fucking familiar though, right? Sounds like an 80-year-old demented fucking billionaire who likes shitting on people's heads and was constantly creating entertainment for an audience of one. But it's okay because we like the rich boy Nepo child. We like him because he's a nice guy. And he actually cares about the wrestling and he loves these fans. And he'll do anything for these fans except for give us coherent fucking television on a week-to-week basis and reasonable booking. We shouldn't have to question every decision this motherfucker makes in order to justify his bad decisions. Like, Tony should, again, you've been in the game for quote-unquote 6 years. We would think you know what the fuck you're doing by now instead of getting worse every year, except for last year. Last year was completely worse. You couldn't get that worse than last year. Ergo, why you won some of those fucking awards that you won? Because a lot of the people realized, hey, at least it wasn't bad as last year. And that was their entire fucking argument. But again, when DJ makes that said argument for the women's War Games match this year, oh, DJ don't know what the fuck he's talking about. DJ's out of touch. It's just, I don't know. It annoys me sometimes because it's like, why does Tony get a pass that we would never give Vince McMahon or Triple H?
I got nothing. I got nothing on that. You know, I put a tweet out either yesterday or the night before saying that on paper this looked like the weakest pay-per-view of the year. And I got a lot of people telling me I'm crazy. And the way it was and the way it was booked, I would seem to be right on that. You know, you have been building Okada and Takeshita for nearly a year, 6 months, whatever it might have been. And you had a shorter match that ended with a screwdriver to the head. And I tweeted someone and I literally said that was totally WWE booking. That's what you built up this match, which should have been the finals, because that's what you've been building towards for all this time. And now you just throw it away in an opening match and you have a screwy, no pun intended, finish. Not only that, but you literally just had two guys who are in major matches next week for Wrestle Kingdom, one of your partners, and both of them have just lost. You had the IWGP champion lose your opening match when he's going to be in the co-main event for Wrestle Kingdom. And then people are going to tell me that Tony takes care of his partners.
And I just tried to defend this motherfucker on Friday. Literally, because on record, Tony tends to treat the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion somewhat seriously. Like, he does a good job of not shitting on the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion when he has him on this television. So I didn't think he'd do some dumb shit like that. The fact that Okada beat Takeshita, this lazy, bland, blonde bitch who can't do a single fucking thing, who cuts every shortcut, who cuts every corner, who can't cut a fucking promo outside the word bitch. Like, AEW fans have this need to cling on the Okada from 2019, and they cling to the fact that he used to be good. In AEW, I'm sorry to tell you guys, he fucking sucks. He sucks more than a Taiwanese hooker. He sucks more than a prom date. He sucks more than my fucking mother sometimes, dude. Like, and my mom's got 5 kids. So obviously my mom's been sucking a lot. She's pretty much an expert on the taste of cum.
To be fair, if she was sucking, there wouldn't be 5 kids. But go on.
Exactly. You're right. But the point I'm trying to make is Okada is as bad as Moxley. In that final, we had to take the less of 2 worst evils. Kind of like the election from this kind of like our past big election. We didn't have a good choice. We had to pick the 2 of the lesser evils, okay? And that's what it was for this. We had to pick between bland, boring Okada, who's done jack all of shit, has put very little people over at all since coming to AEW. His most notable moment is pressing the wrong button and saying bitch. And Moxley, again, the worst top guy in the history of all of wrestling. I'm sorry, I'm trying to catch my breath while going on this rant. I'm sorry, it's taking a lot out of me.
You have pneumonia, so let's relax the lungs. We don't want you, collapsing.
But like, the fuck? Dude, this is so, like, again, the booking decisions behind this company, it's fucking mind-boggling. Because they don't make sense to anybody but the motherfucker booking it.
And of course, the Simps defending it left and right.
Listen, they woke up today very hard to defend Tony Khan because I got one of my tweets calling Tony Khan fucking retarded, blowing up and going viral.
One of the things that I laughed at, I saw a tweet from Wrestling Jesus, and we know who I'm referring to, right?
I believe so.
So Wrestling Jesus says that the pay-per-view was 10 out of 10. There were some low points, but there were also high points. How is it 10 out of 10 if you're admitting there's low points?
Let me just poke holes in this motherfucker's logic real quick. Let me just poke holes in his logic real quick, because he's too scared to debate me. He's too scared for me to call out and point holes in his stupid fucking logic, mister. I hate tribalism, but then enacting that shit in the most passive-aggressive way possible. Well, I prefer AEW, but I love all of wrestling. Motherfucker, if you have a preference, you're enacting and enabling tribalism. No matter if you're doing it passive-aggressively or not.
Exactly, and I brought that up to him, and he still defended. And my favorite was, he wrote this whole long monologue, like legitimately this long monologue tweet defending AEW, defending his views, saying he's not a tribalist. And then the last paragraph was like, I don't care about your opinions about me, but, and I'm like, wait, then you wouldn't have written War and Peace and put it on Twitter if you didn't care about people's opinion on you.
See, what gets me about this disingenuous motherfucker sometimes, and the only reason I'm getting mad at him is because he's scared to debate me. Like, if you at least answered me and Zeus when we called you out on your bullshit takes, and it goes to a lot of these fucking wrestling content creators. So I'm calling all y'all motherfuckers out when I'm saying this. It's like wrestling content creators feel the need or think it's their only way to get famous in the wrestling content creator game is if you just pucker up and kiss all the fucking ass possible. If you lick their tank clean, the promotions will fucking push you and share your clips and blah, blah, blah. That's the way and name of the game, sadly. If you kiss ass the right way, people will notice you. Ergo, why he does his shit the way he does it. Because there's no way this motherfucker genuinely thinks what he thinks in terms of the wrestling space and tribalism. Because guess what? Tribalism ain't going anywhere. That's like saying we can't have tribalism in football, basketball, soccer, college sports. Tribalism is literally everywhere, including our government right now. Like, tribalism is everywhere. To sit here and say you want to end that shit by passive aggressively being fake nice and saying, well, we should just love all wrestling. There's no such thing as bad wrestling. It's just different wrestling because wrestling's subjective. And I hate that fucking argument that wrestling's subjective. Wrestling's subjective until the point you get evidence to prove an objective fact. So, Brandon, you can say you like AEW and AEW is the best promotion in the world. And that's your opinion. And you're right to have that. That is a subjective opinion. But guess what? You want to know what an objective fact is? AEW has had nothing but decline in the past 5 years.
And that's where people get confused between subjective and objective. You could watch a match, and I see Leo's listening. So let's go with a speedball match against Fletcher, right? You can say Speedball and Fletcher was a 5-star match because this, and that. That's a subjective opinion. That is you viewing something and giving your opinion based on your likes. What is objective is the fact that ratings dropped by 25,000 people during that segment. That is objective. You can't argue it because it is a fact. So when you guys got like Meltzer giving 5 stars to a match, that is subjective. Using Cage Match to say, well, this last night's pay-per-view was great because it's got a 9.53 on Cage Match, that is subjective. Objective is the thing that AEW fans cry about, that WWE fans only talk about, and that's the actual metrics, which judges if a company is doing good or not.
I just tweeted something about Uncle Dave the other day that fucking also went somewhat viral because literally what I said was this motherfucker thinks his subjective opinion makes something an objective fact. It's fucking crazy. Like, it's so egregious that CMLL only got 4%. If you asked another audience, more people would know. No, they wouldn't. Most people think CMLL is a fucking Mexican beer. If you ask any normal person who watches wrestling, any wrestling, let alone just WWE, they have no clue what the fuck CMLL is unless you go to either Texas or California, where Mexican people are the high amount of the population to where they're going to know a lot of shit that's going on in their home.
And it goes with AAA too. Before April, before WWE purchased or whatever, acquired, whatever you want to call it, no one knew what AAA was unless you freaking were really deep in the rabbit hole of pro wrestling. Because they
thought AAA was, coming to pick you up on the side of the road.
So not even you can't say that people know CMLL because it's not featured on regular TV in the United States. Most of these people that Dave griffs are most likely from the US. They don't know what CMLL is. They don't watch it regularly. And until WWE started putting AAA on YouTube, no one was watching AAA regularly either. So let's not pretend like all of a sudden, the Mexican wrestling just got hot out of nowhere in the United States. The only reason people know what CMLL is because they're associated with AEW right now. The only reason people know what AAA is because WWE purchased them. There's no reason that anyone else knows who they are. Because frankly, they're not popular. They don't have television. Unless you're able to view something regularly, no one's going to know who these people are. And even if you know who CMLL is, can you honestly name me someone outside of Mystico who wrestles regularly for CMLL and who doesn't cohabitate AEW?
Fuck no.
Exactly. I'm gonna let who had
Herman had his hand up first. I was gonna go to Herm next.
Okay, let's go Herm and then we'll go with Leo.
Well, Brandon, I hate to contradict you on some things. Like I've watched wrestling probably longer than most people have been alive, so I know what AAA is. I know what CMLL is. Have I seen anything of theirs? Going back to like maybe this past year, I can honestly say the last time I saw anything involving AAA was the AAA IWC Worlds Collide event back in the '90s. If that gives you any indication. But yeah, at some point you're just like, when I heard they bought AAA, I'm like, wow, that's still around.
No, I agree with you. It's not that people haven't heard of it, but you're not thinking about it on a weekly basis.
No, absolutely not.
You're not looking forward to, their weekly show the way people look for Raw or Dynamite. That's my whole point. It's not that people don't know what it is, but like you just said, oh, it's still around?
No, when they were first live.
I was going to say, not anything against you, Herm. I wouldn't label you as more of the casual fan. You know what I mean? I would label you more as one of the smarter, well-known wrestling fans. You know what I mean?
He's a hardcore, like all of us. I would deem all of us a hardcore as opposed to just a casual. But go ahead, Herm. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, same. Sorry.
Oh, no, you guys are good. But I'll say this about last night. The one decision that they had to get right, they got right. And that was putting the belt on MJF. Now, what the fuck are they going to do afterwards? I mean, it's not like when he first won the title and you could put him in feuds, because it's like after he won it, I've spent all day today like, okay, who's he going to fucking feud with now? I mean, we're basically going to get, the fucking Brokeback Mountain sequel between Hangman and Swerve, I'm pretty sure at some point. We get stuck with another match with Joe for the title. Or are we going to get stuck with what? Because I've seen some of the little AEW tweets out there posting, oh, Kenny Omega should go after the title. Christ, I fucking see this shit again. I mean, I'm glad Max got the title, but I'll be honest with you, unless he's going to hold it for about a calendar year, I just don't see where they're going with it.
No, I agree with you. In terms of baby faces that he has to face and try to get over, there ain't many in AEW right now. Not until Ospreay gets back, and unless they send Moxley back up for the world title out of nowhere to make him a new unified champion or something. I'm with you. I have no clue what the fuck they're doing. But I do agree also, it was the best decision Tony's made all night, because MJF needs to be the guy with the belt. He's their top. As much as people want to admit it or not, he's their top star in terms of name, in terms of drawing power, in terms of people wanting to click on the television to watch him. If they still had quarter hours for the ratings, we would see MJF segment blatantly increasing every time and then drastically plummeting after he gets off the television. So, like, in terms of MJF being champion, yes, I think is the right decision. But I think everything leading up to it kind of made your job harder. Because you could have just did this as a Hangman MJF thing. They've only had one match. MJF could have beat Hangman. Why the fuck Hangman can't lie on his back unless he's a diva and egos, which again is possibly what happened. Hangman didn't want to drop the belt to MJF because he's like, it's too early for me to lose. So he lost it to Joe. And Joe was going to be the one to do the job to MJF. That's the only thing I could think of. Again, in terms of logic, none of this shit makes sense. And maybe it's just me.
And the one plus I will say is his first title defense is against Bandito in a couple of weeks. So that should be a really good match.
Hopefully it's for the ring. Yeah. Like I said, I'm calling it being the ring versus belt, but we'll see.
Just so we can put it back, give the ring back to MJF, and he didn't have to go through the whole thing.
Leo, but he never lost it, technically.
It's a yearly thing. There's nothing to lose. It's every year. It's almost like the Owen belt. You go through a tournament every year for it. Every year he's won it for the last 6 years. Leo, what's up?
Oh no, what's up, y'all? Just to get in on that MJF subject, I do want to say like that's one of the few wrestlers you'll never see me talk bad about because I feel like he has everything it takes to be a star. So I just hope Tony makes it right. Like that's just really my take on it, and I'm not really too confident with Tony's booking. But I just wanted to make a quick point just to the last topic that Brandon was mentioning, like AAA not having a TV deal here in the US, because they did have one, but it wasn't on English television. It was on Univision, and then they were also on Galavisión. And those are like just networks, obviously, us Mexican Americans grew up on. And so I actually did grow up watching Lucha Libre there on that network. And it was a free network, national network. But then they ended up losing
Leo,
their
if you don't mind me
deal.
asking, where do you live though?
Now I live in Vegas, food, but I was living in LA at the time.
Okay, that again, that kind of adds credence to what I was saying earlier, to where mainly people who know it, where the markets Mexican TV was in, like Arizona, California, Texas, those states.
So like it was so with us, like when we saw the resurgence, I mean, because a lot of foods obviously they stopped watching throughout the years because the product was low key like not that good, to be honest. Before WWE bought it, like it was very stale. It wasn't necessarily growing, and it wasn't necessarily having full houses. And right now, they're sickos trying to paint a narrative that the product was much better, and that WWE is making a joke out of it. When in reality, AAA has never been traditional, and they'd always wanted to be different. So it's like these people are trying to act like they're real fans, but if they actually knew AAA, they would know it was never meant to be a traditional company, a traditional lucha company. My bad. But I just wanted to make that point. But yeah, just overall though, happy for MJF, and hopefully it is something good that happens for AEW. To be honest, because I mean it's something that could at least get me to tune in. I'm not gonna lie, so that's good on their part.
All right, Corey, I saw your hand up next. You got the floor.
Well, this is more to Brandon, but wasn't there a time where like you had somebody win the Dynamite Battle Royal or whatever, and then they had to wrestle MJF for it?
Yeah. After the initial year, which obviously was the first time, I believe there was whoever won the Battle Royal ended up facing MJF, and then MJF kept winning it, kept winning it, and kept winning it. But
yeah,
it was always a yearly thing.
No, the first 2 years were battle royals. Then once the pandemic started, then it was MJF had the winner of the Dynamite Battle Royal had to face MJF.
Yeah, I knew there was something to it. I knew there was something more than just a battle royal, from what I remember.
Right, but it was also also a yearly prize. It wasn't something that like he defended through the year. It was like kind of like I was saying, like the Owen, once a year,
or the Andre Memorial Battle Royal.
Right. But it was always for the last 6 years. MJF has had that ring. That's been his gimmick. He's used it.
But to be fair, they do count the Owen as an actual belt, so it can be confusing.
Only for fucking Mercedes.
Yeah.
Because no one else has worn a belt all year long for winning the Owen.
I think Adam Cole still has his belt at home. Or not Adam Cole, Britt Baker.
Yeah, they get the belt, but they don't walk around wearing it for the whole year. That's my point.
Yeah. I think there's one match we forgot to talk about, and I'm going to talk about it now. Darby versus Gabe Kidd, the coldest match in AEW history. Cold as in this shit had no heat. Cold as in there was no reason to really have this match. Cold as in why the fuck are we doing the Darby's Death Rider things backwards? Why does he beat Moxley first after Moxley attempts to murder him 3 times and then is now facing all the Stooges? Does this make any sense to anybody? And in terms of how far they went in this match, double juice, Darby pretty much damn near getting murdered. Gabe Kidd's not going to be back for another 3 months at this rate because he only shows up once every 3 months to have a match and then go back to Japan. So what the fuck is he doing here on a pay-per-view for no reason if he's not an AEW contracted talent? When there's AEW contracted talent that you could be actually pushing and fucking treating seriously and, not seem like background characters. But that's just me.
But
Leo, I see your hands up.
They also did the same thing with Mox. They did the same thing with Moxley and Hangman. The first match was a death match. Then the last match was a regular match.
But we were told this was the next Stone Cold. So is somebody lying to us?
Who's the next Stone Cold?
Yeah, Sickles were saying that match that he had against Kenny Omega reminded them of Bret Hart versus Stone Cold.
Who? Gabe Kidd?
Yes, the Gabe Kidd and Kenny Omega match. People were saying that match reminded them of when, you know how Stone Cold, when he passed out on the sharpshooter against Bret Hart?
Yeah, WrestleMania 13.
Right. People were saying that shit reminded them of that, bro. And they were saying that this could be the next birth of the next Stone Cold.
Oh my fucking God.
At that fucking point, G, I knew these motherfuckers were delusional and beyond hope. You know, like that's all it took for me, because I saw that shit and it wasn't it was just a long ass match for nothing, bro.
It was a good match though. It was listen, for Kenny Omega's first match back and for him to go as long as he did, I was impressed by that match.
I honestly, it might be something for me, I don't know, but I don't like long ass matches, bro. Like, if it's plus 40 minutes, like, I tune out, bro. Like,
it depends on the match for me.
Yeah, it depends on the names too. But if it's like Kenny, like somebody that's not interesting to me at all, like, and Kenny, I know he's talented, but I just don't like. There's no reason for me to really like him or be a fan of him. He's like a Seth Rollins.
For example, when Omega and Danielson had their 30-minute match, it felt like 30 minutes wasn't long enough. You know what I mean? That shit went by quick.
Yeah,
and it's like, damn, I want more of this.
Yeah, I think
why they ended a draw
to never have a rematch. The story of the match, what's being told in the match, and the talents involved. I think the length of a match will matter depending on the players involved.
That's a good point. Yep.
Because I'm sure you watched Undertaker and Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 25. That was a half hour, and I'm sure.
Well, yeah, that shit feels like you're watching a movie. You know, that's why. Like, but with these fools, they're just fighting for the fuck of it.
So, like I said, I think it all depends the context of the match, what's being told with the psychology and the story of the match, whether a match should be going longer or shorter. Like, if you were there just hitting each other with weapons for 30 minutes, there's really no story. But if there's psychology and they're selling and there's a story behind the actual match itself, and I'm not talking about what's leading to the match, but within the confines of the match itself, I think, you know, a 30 to 40 minute match is just fine. Look at the Hell in a Cell with Shawn Michaels and Triple H. That was like a 45-minute match, and that's highly regarded as one of the best matches them two ever had with each other. And, you know, there was blood. It was all that. But because of the story of that within the confines of the match, it was fine with the length. Then you'll have, you know, matches that'll go 25, 30 minutes, but it's just a ton of false finishes. It's a ton of weapons, and there's really nothing there. There's no meat on the bone, as the saying goes. What's up, Herm?
Well, the one problem with AEW is it seems like they try. Maybe I shouldn't say they try, but it seems like the talent always is trying to get these long ass matches. I was saying to somebody last night, if I didn't know any better, I would think these people were getting paid by the hour, because in no thought process am I thinking to myself that Orange Cassidy and Wheeler Yuta should be in a 30-minute match. But by God damn it, they'll put that shit on television. It'll be on Dynamite or it'll be on Collision, and we know it. People just, just go gaga over themselves, and it's like, but shit, this would be something that in any other company would be like about a few minutes squash. But it seems like that's a thing with Tony. It seems like every fucking match this guy books is like a 20-minute clusterfuck. And it's like, no, we don't need that. In fact, we don't want it. It's almost like if you're being forced to watch, it's torture at that point.
Which just goes back to what I was saying is, you know, between the psychology and the, you know, the story within the match, everyone's a different, you know, it's totally different. I would rather watch Danielson and Omega go 30 minutes than watch Darby Allin and Speedball Mike Bailey go 30 minutes. You know what I mean? So it all depends.
Right. And it also depends on the matches, because you brought up what was it? You brought up Shawn and Hunter. Remember HBK versus Cena on Raw? They went like 1 hour.
1 hour Broadway. That was a 1 hour Broadway from England.
Oh yeah. That was a good one. Another long match I could think of, the WWE tag title ladder match on SmackDown. I think that went over an hour.
Well, the 4-way? Good change, but it wasn't an hour.
That was like 45 minutes though.
Yeah.
For TV time, it was probably an hour. Like on television itself, it was probably an hour, but it was a 45-minute match.
Yeah, because he had commercial, ad breaks and everything else. But
yeah. No, let me think. Long matches that I liked.
That are not stipulation matches, so you can't throw in like an actual Iron Man match.
Oh, I was just about to fuck. Okay, now I got to really think about it.
Well, I mean, that's cheating. It's going to go an hour anyway because it's an Iron Man match.
Well, FTR Gin and Juice. Even though it's 2 out of 3 falls, does that count?
I mean, no, that's not an Iron Man match, so I'll allow it.
FTR Gin and Juice, best TV tag match I've seen ever. In terms of a television tag, and I'm talking like, I think there was a 2 out of 3 falls between the Rock and Roll and Midnight. I want to say like in the late 80s. I want to say 87. That I really enjoyed, and it went like 45 minutes. But no, FTR and Gin and Juice was possibly one of the best tag team, like in terms of being able to grab emotions, in terms of in-ring work, in terms of actually telling a story for an hour. Like if you watch that match, and like that match is storytelling at its best, at least in AEW. In-ring storytelling. That's how you're supposed to tell a story in the ring. Because you had every emotion a wrestling fan should feel in that match.
Wait, I'm sorry, maybe I'm an idiot. Who's Gin and Juice?
Jay and Juice Robinson.
Oh,
I call him Gin and Juice.
Okay, that's why I'm like, maybe I'm. That's why I was like,
listen, Gin and Juice is a lot better tag team than fucking their names. They didn't give them a tag team name. I like Gin and Juice.
I thought you were talking about Private Party for a second.
TR 2 out of 3 falls.
The Bang Bang Gang. Just say the Bang Bang Gang.
I don't know. See, I don't count them as the Bang Bang Gang.
Or Bullet Club Gold, because I think they were Bullet Club Gold at the time.
Yes, they were. But even then, no, it's not fair that the Guns get their own tag team name and the others don't.
Okay, well, you know what? That actually is a good segue, what you're talking about with these long matches. And I'm going to actually ask Herm his opinion on this because he's, been watching for a long time. And it's something I actually we didn't have time for me to get into last week, but do you feel that the problem is also the fact that we're in a time that wrestling fans, because of the generational that we're in, are just spoiled and don't have the attention span because we're in a TikTok generation for matches of that caliber, that length, because everyone is so used to, watching stuff that's in a 3-minute, clip and, watch it and go, as opposed to, back in the 80s, Flair and Steamboat would go an hour every single night. And people would sit there loving it. The Rock and Rolls and the Midnights would go 40 minutes in a tag match. So it's like, I feel like the generation we're in now, which also leads into the whole conversation about, the drop in ratings and, viewership and all that, is simply because, people would prefer to just watch clips as opposed to sitting there and watching the entire show because they just don't have the attention span, because they've also been trained to TikTok and, all these smaller clips in smaller doses.
Yeah, that's definitely a generational type of question, because a younger generation is going to be more inclined to be like, I'll give you an example. If you watch like syndicated wrestling back in the 80s, like Superstars or Wrestling Challenge, You'd have like about 7 matches, but they were all like superstar versus enhancement talent. But 7 matches in 1 hour, you couldn't do that today. Basically because you don't have a whole lot of like superstar versus enhancement guy on television that much, not like back in the day. But yeah, I think a lot of it is too. There's just some people out there. Let's just face it. When they're on TV, we don't want to see them for 20 fucking minutes. Short doses. Last night, for example, like I don't think Bang Bang Gang and FTR was that long of a match. At least it didn't feel like it. It might have been the shortest match of the night, but it did what it needed to do. Any of that makes sense.
See, I felt like that match was just dead. I think FTR's killed a lot of their goodwill, and I don't think this iteration of the Bang Bang Gang is the best to utilize either of these guys. Because you basically have the more charismatic of both teams on one team now, and I don't think it works the same. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I thought it wasn't a bad match, but I think if this match happened a year or two ago, it would have been way hotter than what it was.
Oh, for sure.
Leo, what's up?
No, yeah, I just wanted to say, when it came down to the FTR part that you guys were mentioning, I feel like Cornette said it best, when he reviewed even Brandon's interaction with them, because it hurt a lot of their character, to be honest, to just go out there. And then because it wasn't just Brandon, there was a ton of fans that weren't shaking or that weren't backing down from them, and they try to put on this tough guy persona or like this tough heel persona. And unfortunately, it's just something that's came across as something nobody can take serious, and like you see people trying to paint a narrative about Brandon all the time that he was scared, blah, blah, blah. Bro, that shit is on video, man. Like the motherfucker probably got mad because he wasn't able to get him to sit down or nothing, and then they ended up doing some bullshit to try to make it seem like a brawl. That's what it looked like to me as a viewer, because at first I was like, oh shit, did Brandon get punched or did something happen to him? But then when you really hear like Cornette's review, like ever since, fool, it's hard for me to ever take him serious ever again.
No, it's the same. It's not even just the interaction with Brandon. It's the fact that everyone knows at this point Dax is softer than baby shit. You sling anything his way, he takes it personally, or he takes it to heart, and it hurts his whittle bald fucking feelings. And he claims to be such a man's man and a manly man, and he's a real man, but yet he blocks anyone who has any criticism of Tony Khan or the place he works, even if it's valid criticism. He's a soft little bitch. And Cash exposed himself of being a fucking moron too, waving a gun at people on the fucking freeway. So you publicly know that these two behind the scenes are fucking morons, and one's softer than baby shit in terms of his feelings. Who's gonna want to cheer for them? Who's gonna want them to do any type of good in their career? Who's gonna want anything positive or any type of admiration or belief for these motherfuckers? Again, these guys were
nobody.
In ring. They're the best tag team in the world. I will say that till the fucking cows come home. They are, if not the best, they're in top 3 consideration and conversation as long as they're in the ring.
But Tony ruined them, bro. Tony ruined them, bro. It's a wrap. Like nobody can take him serious, G.
No, I disagree. Tony didn't ruin them. They were doing a lot worse when they were WWE, shaving each other's backs.
I think Tony appealed to their egos more than anyone. Because let's put this into context, since Leo, you brought up Cornette. Have you listened to the Cornette FTR interview?
Actually, no, I haven't.
Look it up. When you get time, look it up and listen to it. They did a 45-minute interview with Cornette before they debuted for AEW, right? And if you listen to Cash and Dax talk, those aren't the same two motherfuckers we're seeing on TV now, or we're hearing do these promos or interacting on Twitter with. They're not the same two guys. It's either because they were indoctrinated or they felt like they belong and they have to defend this place because it's the place they finally feel like they belong. I don't know what. And honestly, I don't give a fuck, because it's not my job to give a fuck about how they're feeling. My job is to be entertained by what they're doing. And what they're doing now ain't entertaining me because I know about who the douchebags are personally. That's like me knowing, like, if I'm going to see a magic show and I know the magician's a fucking child molester, I'm not going to enjoy the magician.
I want to know why you're buying tickets for that show if you know he's a child molester to begin with.
Exactly. No, but point being made exactly, though. That's the point I'm trying to make. But Herm, your hand's back up. What's up?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you said it best about Dax and Cash, man. They took whatever's being served in the punch bowl and they drank it, because that's just how everybody is once they go there. I mean, you know, you had Moxley doing the whole rah-rah speech yesterday. Who knows who the hell's going to come out Wednesday and do something. It's just, it seems like that's that whole mentality. It's like people have to go out there, they have to get on the mic, they have to kiss this guy's ass for some fucking reason. I mean, of course, you know, the main reason being because he's paying them a lot of money to kiss his ass.
I mean, yeah, you usually kiss ass to the guy signing the checks.
More money than anyone else would fucking pay him, probably.
Oh, of course. Like, because I made this reference before about Tony. If you can, because people want to do this whole WWE AEW thing. Someone said something about, has it ever occurred to you that maybe WWE underpays people? And let me answer that. Back in 1983, would you say the NFL was underpaying people because the USFL was able to outbid them for certain players? The NFL being the long-standing, more successful industry standard is low-balling players. Come on, no. And people can hate when I say that WWE is the industry standard, but in North America, yeah, that's what it is.
No, you're right. But yeah, like that, in terms of the FTR argument, like I said, I can say they're great in ring. They can do great in ring work, but they're the reason why most fans don't give a shit no more. It's their fault they're not over. It's not Tony's. They're the one group in AEW we can't blame Tony for, because they fucked it all up themselves between gun waving, constant rah-rah speeches, trying to control and troll a fucking podcast creator. Just a bunch of shit. Going after Marks because you don't like what Marks say about you on the internet. No offense, Brandon, but you know what I mean? Like, there's no reason. If you're going to act like that, don't expect people to fucking like you. That's just my opinion. But again, didn't mean to call you a Mark, Brandon.
But let's be real. We're all Marks.
We're all Marks.
I mean,
listen, people get offended over anything. It's 2025.
I know, but
bro. We're all Marks, G.
I mean, let's be real. The definition of the old definition of the mark is, you know, when they were in the carnivals, and you know, you would pick someone out of the crowd and make them a rube. But you know, in 2025, if you're a wrestling fan, if you're giving away to watch a show and you're completely letting go of what all reality really is when you're watching pro wrestling, you know, you're a mark. I think it's the way, you know, people are using the word mark is when it becomes, I don't want to say offensive, but, you know, derogatory is the better word. You know, like a guy like Russo who's the biggest mark for himself, trying to use mark in a derogatory way simply because people disagree with him. You know, as opposed to just, you know, in general, we're all, I don't, that's like in comic book world, being called a fanboy. We're all fanboys. We're all fans of something. So that makes you a fanboy or a fangirl. You going and waiting online to go to a wrestling show. You're online waiting to get an autograph. You're fanboying or fangirling for these people. So it's not really an insult when you want to say, "Oh, you're such a fanboy." Yeah, I know I'm a fanboy. I'll wear that proud. It doesn't bother me. People think that it's an insult, but if you actually understand what you are as a fan, you should not be insulted by being called a fanboy or a mark.
Listen, I agree. I just don't want to touch people's any feelings. Again, I'm sick, so I'm currently in the mood of not giving a shit. So shit may just slide out my mouth without me actually thinking about it. So I had to make sure That's all.
I also didn't have a problem when FTR was getting in fans' faces because heels have been doing that for as long as time has been. You know, the Dudley boys would do that all the time. You know, they wouldn't freaking hit any fans, but they would get in fans' faces as they were walking in the ring. I've had Bubba Ray in my face, who literally flipped off my hat at the Elks Lodge in Queens, New York, back in the day. So having freaking FTR get in my face, having them get in fans' face to try to garner heat, I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't think it's a matter of, no one's going to take them seriously. No one thinks that these guys are really going to punch you or attack you or pull you over the gate when you're a fan and you're not like a plant, So the fact that people like to throw up the fact that, he bitched you out, I didn't swing. Dude, it's part of the show. No one is expecting the wrestler to take a swing at you. You think, Gunther had some kid in his face a couple weeks ago. I think it was during the Cena match. You think he's going to pull the kid over and you think people are calling the kid a pussy that he didn't swing on Gunther? It's the most ridiculous thing to say. And 4 months later, people are still trying to throw that out like it means something. It's part of the show. But, to try to garner heat getting in fans' faces, Hogan did that with an old woman. I mean, heels have been getting in fans' faces forever. So, to try to garner heat, I didn't have a problem with them doing it. I don't think anyone
how many people Bobby Heenan got in the face off?
But Leo had said that no one takes them seriously. So when they get in fans' faces, no one's going to back down. No one should be backing down anyway. They're not going to touch anyone. So
I don't know. I disagree. See, to that point though, I'll kind of side with Leo because back in the day when Abdullah was around, when Brody was around, when there were certain guys with certain auras, people would definitely get the fuck out the way if that guy was standing in your fucking way. What I mean?
If Brock Lesnar got in my face,
exactly. If Brock got into a motherfucker, I'm telling you right now, if Brock got into your face, Brandon, you sitting the fuck down.
I would still stand up. I would stand up.
Hell no. You sitting the fuck down. If Brock walked up to you and said, "You say something to me, I'll turn you into a fucking pretzel." You sitting right.
You know what? You really think if you're in, let's say go to Albany for a show, and you think you're there and Brock's up there and he's going to grab you over? No, none of the wrestlers are going to touch you. So, staying in their face is not going to be like, oh, I have to sit down. But you know what? The guys, if you're listening, if you guys still think that it bothers me, it has never bothered me. I've never been embarrassed for what I did for being on TV. I revel in it. I laugh when you guys try throwing it in my face.
We made a whole show off of it.
On top of the fact, if you dumbasses were in the same spot, you would have done the exact same thing. Let's not pretend like if you were sitting in the fifth row of the ECW arena along the aisleway, your asses wouldn't be hanging over the barrier too as the wrestlers came down. So let's not pretend like you were just going to sit there on your hands and not enjoy yourself. Herm, you had your hand up, I saw.
I did?
I thought you did.
Oh.
Space is glitch.
I don't think we're worried about pissing people off.
Not today, at least. I'm sick the day before my birthday.
And you guys saw when like fucking. I hate to bring this shit up, bro, but like that fool had like without nobody provoking, this fool brought me up again, you know, and like started saying that fucking lob is a fucking English term for an erect dick. Like, fool, why the fuck you thinking about me and erect dicks, G? You know, like
hold on, Leo. I have to since this is a recorded space, I have to publicly state for the record I didn't bring this bitch up. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah. But I'm just saying it's because I was brought up. So I respect that, DJ, you know, but I'm just I had people making up lies about me, all this crazy shit while I was having a great week, a great fucking holiday weekend with my family. You know, and like these people do not even let this IWC drama go for not even a week, G. Not even during the holidays. You know, and I just wanted to make that a point that shit is fucking pathetic.
Yeah, it is, and that's all I got to say on him because I promised someone I wouldn't mention him.
Yeah, well, the whole Muppet Show have no lives, you know, and you know they spent 20 since Christmas Day. You know, the leader of the Muppet Show has been, you know, going back and forth. All his little, you know, nobody.
And even when you try to be nice, they still can't help it, bro.
Herm, what's
you know,
up?
like so there's no point.
Herm, it's on you. My bad, Brandon.
Just like this Aaron loves wrestling. You call him wrestling Jesus. I'm reading this shit and I'm like, Jesus, did he get fucking dropped on his head as a child? People, it's like,
Bro, like when I did the Lob City Awards, I was thinking of doing an IWC Feud of the Year. And I was thinking of adding fucking I was thinking of adding Brandon versus Aaron.
Well, after today, it's probably going to be DJ versus Aaron.
You know, in all honesty,
I went off him.
I wouldn't consider me and him having like a feud though, because he barely responds to me, and it's all.
Yeah, if anything, hold on, real quick, Leo. If anything, it'd be Brandon and Dr. C. Get the fuck out of here.
He's another one. He's got me blocked too, but we know why. He's speaking of mental disorders. But
I was gonna say we know that has to be a contender for feud of the year, Brandon and Dr. C. Okay.
How about Dr. C and facts, or Dr. C in reality?
Hey, it's not too late to do it. I think I'm gonna do IWC Feud of the Year. So who should Brandon's Feud of the Year nominee be?
I already told you. It has to be Dr. C. Motherfucker, he dragged this motherfucker into multiple group chat sessions. just to fucking destroy him and slaughter him. Okay, nah, that's definitely IWC contender.
Actually, I know I got the winner. I got the winner. It's Voice and Elon Musk, because he's gone through 15 accounts in the last 3 months. So you know what?
Holy shit! Fuck, these shits got me.
There's
dying,
there's the IWC. I'm sorry. He's not Voice anymore. He's WWE Neckbeards. He can't even.
So original.
He can't even do a parody. But
I hope you're listening, you fat fuck, because you always ghost listen and record anything I gotta say because you're fucking obsessed with me.
I hope his little Muppet show. I hope his sidekick is listening.
Listen, me and Keem are cool. Apparently, I told him, I was like, listen, I had my reserves about you because who you're fucking friends with, and I still have my reserves about that motherfucker. But we ain't got no issues, so I'm not gonna say anything bad about him other than he's friends with a fucking bitch. But you feel me? I don't have a problem with Keem.
I wasn't even talking about him. I was talking about 97.
Okay. Oh yeah, fuck that weirdo.
And then Mundo, the guy in his who wears his special purple sock on his face.
What the fuck?
But at least I'm not alone
bro,
in the Aaron crash out today. At least Herm understands why the fuck this motherfucker annoys me. Because it's like, again, you can be there's nothing wrong with being positive, but being overly positive, fakely positive, like fuck. I want to know how you feel about the war in Israel right now.
Oh, this just comes off disingenuous. That's the problem.
No, to me, it just comes off childlike. That's
exactly. No, that's what I'm saying. That's a childlike. That's a non-realistic world mindset. We all should be positive. We all should get along. Tribalism should be over, and I'm just going to ignore anyone who calls out my hypocrisy. And it's funny how he only responds to accounts that are bigger than him and more well-known than him in hopes that they reply to him and give him some traction. Again, he's not a bad guy. I don't think Aaron's a bad person per se.
No, he's not bad. He's just I don't want to say delusional, but it's
the way he goes about things is fucking wrong. I don't agree with it.
He romanticizes professional wrestling. Romanticizes, I think, is the proper word. And I don't mean it in a, I don't mean it like actual romance, but you're romancing professional wrestling and how things are. And it's not, even the guys you look up to, the Tony Khans who you bow down to are the greatest thing, is not a positive person when it comes to pro wrestling. He literally ignites tribalism.
It breeds it, literally. We have it on video now with the whole fuck the Fed thing.
Like, seriously, he has started not only the tribalism, but the whole conversation about metrics and ratings came from Tony. It came from his creative.
And then when he started failing at said metrics he thought up, he started inventing metrics.
The demo god, Chris Jericho. Where do you think that comes from? Because they were flaunting they won demos. You made an entire video thanking SI for giving you all these awards, these fake awards from Sports Illustrated, who the only thing that Sports Illustrated counts for in the last 25 years is a swimsuit issue. That's their biggest claim of fame right now.
It's always been their biggest claim of fame. Going way back.
So just you're celebrating fake awards and it's causing tribalism over the fake awards. And let's be clear, I don't give a fuck about these awards. I don't care about the WON awards. I don't care about any of them. I find them all ridiculous. They're all subjective. And the fact that people are walking around celebrating these awards like they accomplished something. Dude, you're in your basement on your phone playing Fortnite, thinking you're a part of a wrestling company. If you're calling yourself we and our and saying stay out of my company, dude, get the fuck out of the house. But anyway.
All right, I think we've harbored enough on our AEW quote unquote criticisms and wrestling Jesus. Let's start the prediction shit.
I was gonna go through thing to do today. So obviously this is the last show of the year. Wednesday is New Year's Eve. We're going to start 2026. I want to, whoever wants to join in, hit that speaker button. We'll go around. I would like to know what your predictions for 2026 is and what you would like to see both WWE and AEW do that they may have failed at for the new year. So we'll go to the dead man walking DJ first.
All right. For WWE, my prediction is I think they'll turn Cody heel. I think Cody realizes it's been long enough for him being the quote unquote go lucky, happy, kiss your baby face. I think he's been fighting it for way too long. And I think it's a matter of time before the WWE crowd starts turning on him the same way the AEW crowd did. So I think Cody's going to refreshen everything, do the heel turn, probably do it against Randy so we can have a babyface Randy and a heel Cody. It'd be a new and different dynamic.
When do you, if you were gonna book 2026 and you were gonna do that, when would you do it? After Mania?
SummerSlam.
Leading into SummerSlam.
I do it into SummerSlam because I know most likely we're not going to get it this year for Mania. And it's kind of too late to kind of throw those plans into motion. But I think, and plus that's a big enough marquee match and story to where it could headline a SummerSlam card and people would pay to buy it and pay to see it. So I see that for the WWE. That's my bold prediction for the WWE side. For AEW, on the other hand, it's for AEW, it's hard to make a prediction because what I want, Tony's going to do the exact fucking opposite. Because ideally Ospreay wins the obvious prediction is Ospreay wins the belt at Wembley, even though I think it's 2 years too late. And you already gave Ospreay his moment versus MJF in Wembley 2 years ago for a mid-card belt. I think it's kind of counterproductive to do it for a top belt now this year.
I think the neck injury helped that though, because it's coming back from the quote unquote career ending injury. So I think that actually, if he wasn't out for the injury, I would agree with you. But I think because he's coming back from the neck injury, it leads into that story to allow it to be.
You're not wrong, and you could be completely right on it. I just still think it's 2 years too late. I feel like it's going to be, yes, it'll still be a moment because it's him winning the world title in his hometown after everything that's happened. But I feel like it would have been a bigger moment with more people. Because there's no way, I don't think they're getting 40K in Wembley this year.
Oh, no.
So, you know what I mean? Just in that effect of, the moment was 2 years ago.
And
now that
I really hope Ospreay doesn't push himself to hit that show, and he gives himself the time to heal. That's the one thing with Ospreay in this neck injury that I'm worried about is that either he's going to push himself when he's not ready, or TK is not going to give a fuck and push him when he's not ready, especially when you're dealing with neck injuries.
Yeah, I think the latter is going to happen. Tony's going to be like, yo, I need you back. How healthy are you? I'm about 60%. That's more than 50. That's good enough for me. And rush him back. I think Tony's definitely going to try to rush him back. I don't think Tony's going to let him sit.
Can I say something positive?
Go ahead. I'm still trying to think of my prediction.
I actually think that AEW has a lot of good going, that they're going to have a lot of good going because MJF is one of the few highlights, bro, that makes me want to watch the show, and so he's entertaining wrestling wise, mic wise. He likes to stir the pot, and I like that kind of character. The characters that like to stir the pot, the characters that go beyond. And I feel like he still has that edge to him. So I hope it does work out. I'll be watching just because I want to see how his booking is handled. With the women's, y'all already know there's if you guys been following me, Megan Bain, she needs to be booked better. She wasn't even on the show. To me, that was a very big disappointment, because I feel like there's just so much potential with that, but they're just not capitalizing. Like, she already looks like she could fuck up every girl on the roster, So we'll see what they do with her this year, man. But I could say I have high hopes for AEW. However, just by MJF being champ, I will say that.
No, I agree with you on your logic. As long as MJF is the top champion and he's healthy, AEW television will become exponentially better. But
absolutely,
I think also at this point, though, asking MJF to carry that whole ship while it's sinking is a failing task. I think he can only get them so far.
And MJF and CMLL was phenomenal too. You know, like his character, everything. The fans were treating him like an actual heel. He's a genius, dude. So I hope they do the right thing with him. That's all I'm gonna say, because I don't want to sound like a full-on AEW hater either, because this shit is actually gonna get me to watch. You know.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna go with a bold prediction. Dave Meltzer is gonna be on AEW television in 2026.
Ooh.
Calling it.
He's gonna come out from the shadows.
He's gonna be here's my dream scenario. He's at All In next year.
Wizard of Oz. Ignore the man behind the curtain.
My goal for next year is after every match at All In Wembley, they go back to Dave after every match to get his star ratings.
That'd be funny. Herm.
But no, that's my prediction for AEW. Dave will be on television.
Herm, what do you got for 2026?
Let's see, 2026. Well, I got a lot of small predictions, some big predictions. Biggest prediction I think is going to be in AEW. I think MJF's going to hold the title for the entire year, drop it at World's End. Basically, the reason I'm saying that they keep talking about Ospreay and the neck, and I don't even know if he's going to be ready for Wembley, to be honest with you. I think at this stage of his career, smart thing would be to come back when he knows that he's going to be 100%. Yeah, I think he's at that point where he doesn't necessarily need to come back at this point. But you know, if it were me, I would hold off until he knows that he's 100. Bold prediction for WWE. We saw how LA Knight's year ended. I think next year they're going to put the belt on that fucker. I got one of them kind of, I had one of them kind of gut feelings. I'm not an LA Knight mark.
Which belt? You got to be specific.
One of the top tier, either the WWE or world title.
Okay.
I just, for whatever reason, the way that ended, they're going to do that big fucking redemption story. It's going to end up getting him into the title picture somehow or another. They'll have like one of them Damian Priest type runs where it's like maybe a couple months.
So, Herm, you think they're going to basically do what they did with Hangman and AEW this year to an extent, but with LA Knight, to do kind of a redemption arc type?
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, he's going up against the top faction on Raw, to start out with, going through Bronson and then, eventually having to go through Breaker, Theory. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't give him something interesting, because that's definitely what it would be. It would be better than just him going out there going up against like Jey Uso for whatever fucking reason.
My bold prediction is Dominic Mysterio by the end of the year is going to win the World Heavyweight title, the Raw title.
Hey, I'd like that.
I hope God hears you. I hope God hears you.
Oh, hell no. Listen, as much as I love Dominic and I agree he's getting, but I disagree with you on that one. I if he does win the title, it'll definitely be next year. This is 2026 will be the year of Braun Breaker.
Yeah, but I don't think Braun's going to hold it for the entire year.
I disagree. I think Braun will hold it for a year. Who are they going to drop the belt from Braun to?
I don't. But do you think Braun's winning it at the first Raw, or you think it's gonna wait till Mania?
WrestleMania. For something like that, for a guy you're trying to make your next top baby face, probably your next top guy, you want to make it at WrestleMania. That's your biggest show of the year. You don't want to give it away on a Raw. Don't do like what they did with Goldberg and WCW.
No, see, I disagree. You do it. You give him the belt on Raw and have something for Punk to work towards for Mania, or worst case scenario, Rollins is healthy by Mania. So you can either do another 3-way with those three and have Braun beat them both, because that would be the right solution if you're trying to make Braun Breaker the future.
Yeah, but the thing is that if you're going to make him the top guy and your long-term champion, because that's what I'm hearing is he has a long title reign, a la Gunther with the IC title, then you want to make that happen at your biggest show, in my opinion, if you're going to do that.
Well,
see, the reason I disagree with you right there, TriStar, is that I think Mania would be the place to establish him as your champion, to show that it wasn't no fluke. I say he beats Punk at the first Raw. They do everything in their power to not give him any or many title defenses unless it's one against Punk before. The same way Roman got over when he beat both Danielson and Edge.
I get it, but I don't like having it where if you're trying to crown the guy as the next top guy, then you want to do it on a pay-per-view. You don't want to do it on free TV. You want to make them pay to see it. And
I mean, technically, everyone's paying to see Raw anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's on Netflix now. I get it.
Like I said, in most cases, you're right, TriStar. But in terms of WWE building this Raw as something special, other than it being the first Raw of the year, that's why I see a title change could happen, and I think it wouldn't kill Braun Breaker to win the belt on that Raw.
But why though? We're gonna get 2 matches out of them anyway, so there's no reason for Punk to lose the title when he can just lose it at Mania. I see Braun winning the Chamber and beating Punk at Mania, so you don't need Punk to drop the title.
I just don't think Braun's ready.
All right, let's chill out on the interruptions for a sec, just so everyone's opinion is being heard at least. I don't want nobody tripping up over anyone. Herm, I see your hands up real quick.
Yeah, another prediction I want to make about 2026. Raw and SmackDown are going to swap the major titles. So the WWE branded titles are going to go to Raw, and the World branded titles are going to go to SmackDown.
Do you think they're doing the draft this year, Herm?
I don't know if they're going to do a draft, but I think they're going to do like what they did at the beginning of last year, where they had like that transfer portal. You know, that's where you saw like the Miz and the Wyatts and a bunch of other people going to SmackDown, and you had, whoever the hell came over from SmackDown over to Raw. You get something like that. But it's one of those things that makes sense to me because the WWE titles are basically the ones with the bigger lineage. They're like the flagship championships. Why would you have them on a show that's not considered your flagship? I mean, that's that.
Because of Roman. Because Roman had him over there.
Well, and if Roman, if they go Roman Cody at 42, I don't see Roman going back to SmackDown.
I mean, they could, like, I don't see them doing that because, like, with SmackDown having like the cable deal instead of just Netflix, like they've got the WWE title over on cable.
Like, Lloyd, do you have any predictions for AEW and WWE for 2026?
AEW is going to create 32 new championships.
I only had 5.
What?
I said I only had 5 new championships.
I
was saving that for awful predictions tomorrow.
The WWE, I had a few. I'm trying to think which ones I had.
I was gonna say you could all out. We got time.
Yeah, I had them in my space like a couple weeks ago. Like I made a few. Okay, one. This is kind of a WWE prediction, but it's also a TNA prediction. The TNA World Title will be defended at WrestleMania.
Okay, I can see that. Who's the world champion though? It ain't gonna be Kazarian.
Going in, it's either going to be Dolph Ziggler or Nick Nemeth, whatever, or that's when they do the little Jericho thing that I talked about.
Okay, Jericho going for the TNA title, so he could be the not the Nieves. He could be the Diaz.
Right. And it's the one major world title he's never won.
I'll half agree with you on that, but I'm going to say because we already know that Santana is going against Kazarian on the first AMC show.
No, it's not. It's Genesis. He's facing Bear Bronson.
No, they moved it up.
It's not. It just hasn't aired yet.
but also, Brandon.
Think about it. You do Santana against Jericho at WrestleMania for the TNA title. The title Jericho's never had against a guy who he has history with.
Okay, but when do you have Nick Nemeth to cash in?
He could He does it. You could do it anytime on the on their TNA show. It doesn't have to be at WrestleMania.
And it doesn't have to be a successful cash in either.
Exactly.
No, that's why I said you have him to cash in on like Kazarian, and then you go into Mania with Jericho versus fucking Nick Nemeth.
I don't know. I think I'm with Brandon.
Hey, everybody went quiet.
I think Santana, in terms of their history, would mean a little bit more to wrestling fans, even though WWE fans really wouldn't give a shit on who Jericho was facing because they'd want Jericho to win. But I don't know. I feel like Santana would be better in that position because at least then you're building a new star instead of having a nostalgia match for a belt that WWE kind of doesn't care about.
The way I was thinking was that Jericho beats Ziggler for the title, and then you have like Santana take it back at like Slammiversary.
But you could do the same thing with Jericho beating Santana. Santana gets that match on the biggest stage of them all, defending a belt for a company that's never been defended on WWE television really before. And you could run it back at Slammiversary and have Jericho drop the belt after and get some fucking eyes on Slammiversary. Again, I think in terms of Nick Nemeth and Jericho definitely has more name value. I agree with you on that point. I just think it would mean more to TNA fans and getting eyes on TNA if you're having Jericho face a real TNA guy, not Nick Nemeth. Like Nick Nemeth still has that WWE allure to him. Like everyone knows him still as Dolph Ziggler. Nobody remembers him as Nikki from the Spirit Squad. Okay.
So basically, you could do the thing I talked about like earlier this month with fucking Ziggler. You could do with Santana. Basically, have Santana beat Kazarian. The lights go out. Jericho comes out, and that's how you win the first show on AMC.
Yeah, I'd be with it. Because again, with as much as we can talk about how Jericho killed a lot of his credibility in AEW, he still has drawing power, like top drawing power. Like especially as soon as he returns to WWE with a fresh coat of paint on him and a new pair of abs.
And then you do the thing to where he shows up at Genesis, beats the hell out of fucking Santana, and then like Santana enters the Rumble and eliminates Jericho.
Yeah, there's a lot you could go back and forth and build to that, but I think Santana against Jericho would be the better play than having Ziggler.
No, I agree. Like I said, Ziggler's more of a star. If you're wanting more star power and more name recognition for that, I can see why they go that way. Because Nick Nemeth / Dolph Ziggler has more name recognition than Santana at the moment.
All right, let's go.
But
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you're good.
I was gonna say let's go to Notorious because he had his hand up. Then we'll do TriStar, and then we'll go back to Herm.
All right, what up? I got three. I actually got one for TNA, one for WWE, one for AEW. WWE's, I have Jericho winning his 10th Intercontinental Championship at some point this year. AEW's, MJF, Will Ospreay will not be their all-in main event because I don't think Will Ospreay will be back in time. I think they'll pivot to likely MJF versus Kenny Omega. And then for TNA, AJ Styles will compete at either Bound for Glory or Slam this year. There you go.
Oh, damn. Hold on. Let me give my TNA prediction then real quick. I think Tesla will get another shot at the world title. On a serious note, Tesla will come in one day, have this bitch a gripe about how she never got a title shot back. Rematch clause, bitches. Tesla versus Kazarian in 2026. I'm calling it.
All right, TriStar, what you got?
Okay, so for WWE, my big prediction is that Gunther wins the Rumble and he goes on to win at WrestleMania, and he goes on a dominant run, a la his IC title run, because you've got more heat on him than you've had on anybody in God knows how long, with what he did with Cena and Goldberg and all that. Now with TNA, I think, speaking of Tessa Blanchard, I think because of the working relationship with WWE, we get the match we never got. We get Tessa Blanchard versus Charlotte Flair because it writes itself. And I think it'd be a hell of a match. I mean, I get it. Tessa's not the most popular person for things she's said in private and things like that, but you cannot deny she is a hell of a worker.
Oh, she's a hell of a talent. If she knew how to keep her fucking mouth shut, she'd already be women's champion in WWE.
If people are so mad about things that Tessa has said, let me remind you who her father is. Tully Blanchard. Tully Blanchard was known for saying outrageous shit like that back in. Yeah, oh yeah. So let's just say the apple does not fall far from the tree. Let's just say that.
But TriStar, was it more of a Tully Blanchard thing or more of a Magnum TA thing? Because she was raised by both of them.
No, yeah. But it was more of the point of, like, even Cornette said it when he heard the initial Tesha shit going down. He's like, damn, the apple must have not fall far from the fucking tree. Because, again, the reason Tully had a lot of the problems in his career that he had is because he never knew how to keep his fucking mouth shut.
And let's be real.
With all respects to Tully, that earned him his reputation.
If the person who Tessa hurt can forgive her and they're on speaking terms, everyone else should just shut the fuck up about, sitting on your...
Right. And that shit was years ago. I mean, I think time heals all wounds. I mean, good Lord. People are still mad at her over that shit. I mean, my God. Are we going to be mad at Goldberg because he basically ended fucking Bret Hart's career?
Bret Hart is.
Or are we going to be mad at D'Lo Brown because he put fucking Darren Drozdov in a wheelchair?
I was there for that. I was there for that, by the way. I was there live at SmackDown when it happened, and I knew right away Droz was fucked.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, guys get hurt in the business. It happens. I mean, you think about it, you're talking 250-pound grown men, landing on their heads and things like that. Of course, that stuff's going to happen. It's just like when, Sabu would sue WWE over concussions and stuff. I'm like, okay, was it really WWE where you got your concussions or all the crazy shit you was doing in ECW? I mean, come on. But go ahead. I'll yield my time.
Herm, you had something?
Yeah, I mean, going along with I'm trying to follow along here with TriStar. I dropped some breadcrumbs, but now I think I've lost my train of thought, guys.
Okay, first I said Gunther would win the Rumble and go on to win at WrestleMania and have an IC title type run with the world title or the WWE title. And for TNA, I believe you'll finally get the dream match of Tessa Blanchard, Charlotte Flair, the feud that writes itself.
All right. Did anyone else want to give any predictions? Jameer?
Roxanne becomes either Queen of the Ring, Money in the Bank, and shit. For AEW, if Will Ospreay is not ready, I see Kyle Fletcher beating MJF for the world title.
My TNA predictions: they will sell out a 10,000 seat arena.
I've been saying that. Lloyd, was I not the first one to call that? I said I think WWE will send guys to really juice up the card, and I think they might go somewhere like a Chicago. That hell, Chicago, you can sell out a wrestling show with a frog. I mean, that's such a big wrestling town. But, yeah.
My predictions, let's see, for WWE, I think by the middle of the year, Obafemi will be a mid-card champion. I think that Bayley is going to jump to AEW when her contract is up.
No, I disagree with that one.
I don't see that. I think when her
They've
contract's
been
up, I
featuring
think
her wrestling school too much for them to just let her go.
yeah, I think if anything, they're gonna make her like a producer /
Or a
trainer.
trainer. Yeah, I don't think I don't see, unless WWE isn't willing to give her a living wage. That Bayley has done nothing to earn a raise. But if they pay her about the same that she's getting paid now, maybe slightly less, just because she's not as important on the roster, Bayley ain't going nowhere. They're featuring her wrestling school. They're going to start farming talent there and taking talent from out of there.
I mean, hell, aren't they like really talking about the girl that was like that Bayley super fan? Now Bayley's training her.
Izzy Moreno, yeah.
Yeah.
She's already a wrestler. She's some indie title.
She was going to be in the ID tournament, but she lost her, her qualifying match.
She lost her ID. That's what happened. It's just like when you go to buy beer and, damn, I lost my ID. Hold on, I'll be right back.
I don't think we're going to get a major jump from AEW to WWE after Jericho. I think pretty much, AEW is going to retain all their current guys. I don't think anyone's got
2027.
What was that?
Until 2027.
Well, we're talking 2026. So
Lloyd, why do you say 2027? What's going on in 27? Oh, you think MJF actually goes to WWE?
No, not even that. That's how long everyone's pretty much locked down for. There's no big major contracts except for Britt Baker's coming up in 2026, and Britt Baker might be the only one to jump.
And I don't think Britt's going to WWE. I think if she's jumping, she's going to TNA. Because in WWE, hold on though, because in WWE she would just be in the mid card. She wouldn't be pushed as a big deal in WWE.
See, that's where I disagree. She'd get the Jade. She would definitely get the Jade treatment.
In TNA, she would be the face of the fucking division.
Yes, but TNA doesn't need. I don't think they got Britt Baker money.
They do. They do now.
No, even with the new deal, I don't think they got Britt Baker money. She wants. I'm telling you, she's going to want close to 7 figures.
And when the deal with Lorenzo Fertitta gets finalized, yeah.
I agree with the TNA part for Britt, only because of her practice as well. It's less travel.
Yeah, and they're down in Florida, so I mean, yeah.
TriStar, they've been traveling.
Do what?
They haven't been in Orlando in fucking 10 years.
Oh, well, where's TNA at now?
They've been traveling. They've been doing smaller venues.
Oh, I thought they were still down there in Orlando.
No, I found out they weren't when I went to Universal, and I was like, where the fuck is TNA being held? And Ropes told me, he's like, they haven't shot TNA down here for like 5 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Damn. Old Florida territory.
They've been on the road for a while.
Herm, what's up?
I was about to say, didn't Britt Baker come out and say that she had a stroke a while back?
What?
No,
that was when her initial comeback. When she was training on her comeback, and why it took so long for her to return.
I didn't know she had a damn stroke. That's crazy.
It wasn't a stroke. She had some nerve issues, but it wasn't a full-on stroke.
Ah, gotcha.
She was nervous.
But that was happening during her initial rehab for when she was out for a year, and that's what took her long to come back.
Because I'm thinking at this point, man, she might be a liability.
Yeah, and now I gotta ask. Speaking of her, any update on her man Adam Cole?
Nothing.
He was just on the World's End Media Scrum yesterday.
No, but I'm saying there's been nothing about his health though.
That ain't been her man in like a year.
I thought they were married.
No, they broke up since last year.
Broke up.
That was like a huge story.
Well, hot damn, that tells you how much I pay attention to AEW.
But yeah, no, they broke up in like March because he moved down to Florida, and then one of them moved back to Pittsburgh.
Wait, he's from Florida. He's from Pensacola or Panama City area.
Well, one of them moved to Florida, and one of them moved right back.
Britt Baker's from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, she's still in Pittsburgh because that's where her practice is.
But say again, what about her practice?
Her practice is in Pittsburgh.
Oh, well, hell, I need to go up there and get a scaling done, you know.
That was they broke up around the time that the MJF and Adam Cole were having their program, because he even threw up the fact that his dentist isn't visiting him anymore, something along those lines.
And it wasn't around that time where Britt around in the back, you know, running her mouth about the MJF Osprey for too long.
TV when her and Adam Cole broke up.
Oh, Danhausen will be jumping to WWE this year too.
I see Danhausen in AAA.
Yeah,
it's still WWE.
You also got Private Party that's up next year too.
Tony wanted Adam Cole. He got Adam Cole. He didn't want Britt anymore.
And I think next year we get the ultimate tag team that we've always wanted, if he gets healthy. Adam Cole and Heath Slater. Damn it. The Bays.
Done.
Yeah, Adam Cole's done. He will officially announce his retirement. There's my AEW prediction.
So what exactly was his injury? Can somebody tell me?
Concussion.
Another concussion.
Oh, he got concussed again.
Either concussion or neck injuries. And like I said, the way he worded it, it means nobody's going to clear him and he ain't coming back.
I mean, AEW will clear anything.
Okay, I know he made his debut on like a dark match, but here's a prediction: Sting's son will officially sign with AEW.
And that was one for his last match. That was one that played Wolfpack Sting, right?
Yes, you've asked this like 12 times. He will be known as Sting.
Or Stone.
Herm, you got your hand up, or was that just old?
Oh no, I'm just listening.
Yeah.
Well, now here's the thing: if they're going to do that, what about his brother, the one that played the Surfer Sting at his retirement?
He's not training. The other one's the only one who's training.
Well, I was going to say, would they ever consider doing a thing like where if they were to do that, they make it like Sting, Stang, Stung kind of thing?
The Sting brothers.
Yeah, but
Sting
no. Here's the thing. So you have the OG, the dad, Sting, and you have one debut as Stang, like Mustang, Stang, and then the other one be Stung, Stung.
No, because that would kill their careers. Think of any.
No, that would be hilarious.
You might as well let Chris Benoit's kid debut as Chris Benoit Jr. at that point.
They're going to end up like David Flair.
Or Dustin Rhodes when he was the natural.
I think by the end of 2026, Copeland will officially retire.
Well, he already announced that he was at 2026, which was the end of his contract. He's done.
Oh, so he's not going to come back to have like one last match in WWE or anything like that?
Oh, he's full on with the acting thing now. It's starting to take off with the Percy Jackson show, doing as good as it's been doing.
Okay.
His acting career wasn't taking off too fast, ergo why he went back to WWE. And then WWE wasn't working out, so he went to AEW. And then he started getting more acting roles again. And now he's like, I don't like wrestling much no more. I could get the same payday with less bumps.
Yeah.
But no, I just saw this tweet that Regal apparently posted talking about the dangers of doing a vertical suplex off the top rope. And
the superplex?
Just the dangers of doing said spot though, and the long-term damage it does. Not the short term, the long term.
Well, yeah, I can see, you're falling from like 15 feet and you're falling on your back, it can fuck your back up. But yeah, I can see it.
And not even that. Like, again, we know wrestling's a work. We know they're blatantly cooperating with each other.
Yeah, but they can still legitimately get hurt. I mean, I've taken bumps in a ring. Like, that ring is not soft.
The point I'm trying to make is it's your job as a wrestler. What's your first job as a wrestler and they teach you in wrestling school?
to protect yourself and protect your opponent.
Yes. Those are the first two fucking rules they tell you in any real wrestling school. How does DJ know? Because I went to a real wrestling school, kid.
Yeah, I was trained by fucking Robert Gibson, god damn it. Rock and roll Robert Gibson, so I know.
And AEW, and not even just AEW, but a lot of wrestlers, just because of shock and awe, throws that second part out the window. I'm going to make sure I'm protected, but my opponent, I'll ask for forgiveness, then permission. And it's like, it's
I'll
getting
tell you a guy
ridiculous.
who, yes.
It's just getting ridiculous in the part of wrestler safety. Again, let's take the Drew McIntyre CM Punk match for an example. When Punk cracked Drew on the top of the head with that fucking toolbox, he was asking for forgiveness, not permission, because he fucking cracked the shit out of him. I'm shocked Drew wasn't concussed.
he fucking laid it in. He did.
You know what I mean? And I understand going in for your art, and which is fine. Again, I enjoy it when wrestlers try to make it look as real as possible. But again, your first step should be protecting your opponent and making sure he can get up out of bed tomorrow and see his fucking family. And I think too many wrestlers are too focused on the shock and awe and trying to get attention off of the cool moves they can do, and they've been practicing in the ring.
Dude. Thank you for saying this, because what gets me is this is why I'm so against watching shit in AEW or even a lot of these indies, because it's either like 15,000 spots and super kicks and stuff that just looks fucking phony, and guys that don't look like they could actually whip somebody. I'm not saying roided up guys like the Ultimate Warrior, but I'm talking, they look like they could fucking whip somebody. And then number two, you got these guys doing all this fucking garbage, hardcore fucking outlaw bullshit, like fucking IWA Mid-South Ian Rotten types, or CZW, or Nick Gage, or those dumb motherfuckers where they get fucking hepatitis C after a match.
Speaking of that, there's another prediction I made, and I made this in a space like a couple weeks ago. Mick Foley will wrestle a match in 2026.
He wants to kill himself in the ring. That's the only thing I see. I think he wants to kill himself. I think he used the whole Trump thing as an excuse. I think what he really wants to do is, like you said, Lloyd, I think he wants to wrestle. And no doctor in WWE worth half his fucking salt is going to clear him, because they're like, listen, you can barely fucking get out of bed. What makes you think we're going to clear you to go out here and take bumps? Because as soon as Foley gets in that ring, he's doing the fucking elbow off the ring. He's doing all the crazy shit. He's gonna do it because it's fucking Mick Foley. That's what he's known for. So I don't think that's a smart idea. Will he do it? Yeah, he'll do it. And Tony Khan will be fucking dumb enough to clear him and say, oh yeah, come on. Because again, they're fucking indie fed with a major budget and a fucking TV deal.
That's why I go after Tony the way he does. Because again, he doesn't protect these stupid motherfuckers from their worst instinct. And hold on, I'm just mute.
I want your opinion on it. Will Mick Foley wrestle in AEW in 2026?
No, Mick Foley will never wrestle again. He can barely walk. You think he's going to wrestle?
He'll wrestle. Yes. He's going to wrestle. It's going to be at the White House. The match will be at the White House.
He might wrestle at GCW.
No.
Listen, GCW had Sabu in a match a month before he died.
Sabu could fucking walk. Sabu could walk on his own. He didn't need a cane. He didn't need a walker.
You didn't see the spot where he fell out of the ring and fucking knocked himself out, and it took him like...
He still could walk. Because he still could move on his own. He was still fucking ambulatory. For all we know, Mick Foley right now is shitting in a bag.
Listen, the only reason Sabu could walk is because Joey Janela pumped him up with Kratom. That's why.
Yeah, like he was popped up on fucking amphetamines and shit. That's the only reason he was even able to have that match.
He tried to get Kurt Angle to come in and wrestle him.
Well, Kurt's done because he wants to be done. If Kurt Angle wanted to, I think Kurt Angle could have went like 3 years more.
He can't walk. He's had so many fucking neck injuries, and he's had doesn't he have that same fucking muscle degeneration thing that Paul Orndorff had?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
but again, the damage that Kurt Angle has on his body is nothing compared to Mick Foley. Again,
right.
Mick Foley's own doctors even said, when having to patch this motherfucker back together, we've never seen injuries like this before. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that Mick Foley is alive today and can talk to his kids
is a goddamn medical miracle.
Exactly. To think he's going to be able to go in a ring, and even if it's a 2-minute squash match where he takes out
take
Mr.
bumps,
Sacco, even if he takes out Mr. Sacco and shoves it down someone's throat, I don't even think he can do that anymore. If we're going to have Mick around, interviewer, commentator, maybe some type of managerial capacity, sure. But is taking or giving bumps in the ring? Hell no. Mick is not as coordinated. He doesn't have the coordination anymore. And like, that's the issue. It's just like Mick, he can't. There's no way he could physically do it. If he was maybe 50 pounds lighter, I'd give it to you. But we're talking almost 300 pounds. He's still like 250. He'd have to be like a dirt skinny Mick Foley. Because what saved Mick Foley throughout his entire career was him being a giant fat fuck. He at this point of his age, he can't be that old carrying that weight. It's not reasonable.
Right, and I do think some fucking federation somewhere will fucking let him wrestle. I don't know if it's going to be a major promotion. Maybe I could absolutely see fucking GCW letting him go out there and have a fucking full match. I could absolutely see fucking GCW doing it because they did it with fucking Sabu.
No, TriStar. I think at this point with WWE being involved with GCW, I think a lot of that shit wouldn't get cleared. Because that's WWE has that ID program. They run out of that. Yeah,
Yeah, no, like I said,
they learned that lesson.
Bringing Mick in is a giant liability if you brought him in for a match. Because I'd say there's like a 60% chance that he ain't walking out that match if he did.
Yeah, I just don't know if it was a smart decision on his end to leave that Legends contract because he was getting hellacious money and he didn't have to do anything. That's basically their way of saying thank you for what you did for us.
Nah, but Mick's also the kind of guy to live on his morals. You got to understand, this is the same guy who didn't come to work for a week after the screw job because he was standing up for one of the boys, and the company's doing one of the boys completely fucking filthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if Mick Foley was able to go on protest for Bret Hart for a week in order to show some solidarity and to stand on his morals, best believe he's going to do the same exact thing for President Pig Shit.
Yeah, I
don't know.
I have no problem with what Mick did. Like from a moral standpoint, he stuck to what he believes in.
He's sticking to his guns. I mean,
I think if he's going to have a quote unquote match, it's going to be like what will be similar to like Austin had. It would be more like a brawl, not with so much with the bumps. I think there'll be a lot of like smoke and mirrors. But I also don't think he's going to have one because I think he was planning to have one and he just physically couldn't get himself ready for it. I think that he said that he wanted to do like one more death match at 60 years old or something like that. He was saying for a while, but he just couldn't physically get himself together. So I don't think it's going to happen. I think he'll sign a deal with AEW in some sort of capacity, but I don't think it's going to be like a Sting thing where he's coming in to do matches and stuff like that. But I think once his Legends deal in June is up, I think he definitely will sign some sort of 1-year deal to do something with AEW. Because he is losing a lot of money, apparently, not just from the Legends deal, but apparently from his touring. You know, there are people that don't want to book him for it anymore. So
Here's another one. Shane McMahon will join TNA.
I think that's as likely as him joining AEW.
He almost did.
Exactly.
I think you're a better chance to see Shane by TNA than him just randomly showing up.
Now, this is the boldest of bold predictions. If Tony Khan had any balls, he would do it. Because it would be the hottest heel thing going in a long time. Go get Jim Cornette. My God. Please do it. That would be so hilarious.
Hey, Vince McMahon is all elite.
Vince McMahon
joins AEW.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh, no. You know what? I'll throw that out there for my predictions of 2026. Vince is going to announce whatever this new project he's been on hush-hush for. And it's going to be something wrestling related. I'm calling it right now. He started his own studios or something called the 14th Street Productions or whatever.
What, is he going to try to do a whole new territory or something, like where he tours and...
I don't know.
Gets like...
I think Vince still has the wrestling bug. I think he has
a guy who hates wrestling. Funny enough.
No, I think you got to understand with Vince, though. He's been doing it for so long. He doesn't know what to do outside of wrestling and WWE. So, like, I just don't think... I think that itch has never left him.
He's going to join JCW with Russo.
Could be possible. Let me stop.
Fucking JCW, good Lord.
I'd fucking laugh if the Juggalos got that backing. Like, yeah, I'll put a couple million into this for my old friend Vinny Roo. That I haven't talked to in the better part of 30 years.
Yeah, and I fucked over twice. And that fucked me over twice.
Like, it's really crazy. But yeah, no.
Here's one. Will still continue to be a lonely, miserable old man.
Who will?
Who?
Bret Hart.
Oh, wait! I thought you had that black girlfriend, or as like half his age.
That's his wife.
Have you heard him? No, he's still a lonely, miserable prick.
I wouldn't say he's lonely, but he's definitely miserable.
Why is he so miserable?
Because he's Bret Hart. Imagine being Bret Hart, the guy whose career got cut probably like 10 years short because of a kick to the head, and his standing in the wrestling community will always be limited to where it was. Like, it's not like Bret started his own promotion. I think he did attempt to start his own school, but it didn't really get any traction. So he just took over the Gun.
Where they're in Calgary or whatever?
Hey, TriStar. Imagine you being the biggest draw at the time when nobody was a draw.
Right. I mean, that's like if Kevin Nash brags about being a year-long WWF champion. He didn't draw fucking shit.
Neither did
Nobody
Bret.
was drawing anything.
It's
exactly.
It's like being Dick Hutton.
Yeah, he was NWA champion. The only reason Dick Hutton was the NWA champion was because that was the only guy that Thez would do a job for. Because
Thez knew he could shoot him if he wanted to and take the belt.
Yeah, right, because Thez was like, okay, yeah, you can put this guy in here with me. It's more show busy, but he better be able to fucking legit beat me.
But that was also in the age where a lot of people, whoever was the NWA champion, they couldn't really trust their opponents because a lot of NWA champion opponents would try to go into business for themselves.
I was about to say, wasn't there one time, God, I've heard the story, I think it's out like in Abilene, Texas, there was a guy who tried to fucking like double cross on Harley or something.
Mm-hmm. And Harley kicked the shit out of him in the locker room.
Yeah, he tried to like shoot pin him or whatever. Because he wanted to be the fucking world champion.
Yeah. And he knew the fucking committee would never vote him in, so he's like, I'm gonna take this shit for myself.
Yeah.
That's when wrestling was done right, when we had a fucking committee watching over this shit.
Right. Well, think about it like this. Dick Hutton, who he's talking about, was a former NCAA champion wrestler. He was a great amateur, but he was kind of like Dan Severn in a way. Like, he was legit, like a really tough son of a bitch, but he had the fucking personality of cardboard.
Oh, sorry, stomach pains.
And that's kind of the thing it was with Dick Hutton. He had no personality at all. I'm talking even for back in the late 50s. We didn't have to have a bombastic personality. But it's just, he was almost kind of like Johnny Gargano in facials, but had the mat skills of like a Kurt Angle. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. And he didn't fucking draw for some reason. And then, like, literally, I think, was it 2 years after he dropped the title to, was it O'Connor, I think? Pat O'Connor?
I believe so. Could be wrong. I have sick person brain, so I can't remember shit today.
Oh, I want to say it was like, because I want to say it was like 58, 59, I think, when he dropped it. Because O'Connor, yeah, it was Pat O'Connor, because O'Connor dropped it to Buddy Rogers. But beside the point, though, he didn't fucking draw shit, and then within 2 years of after dropping the NWA title, he's completely out of the business.
Yeah, because no one wanted to hire him. That's why. He wasn't a draw anywhere. And everyone was like, fuck that. Not even Jack Pfeffer. And that motherfucker wanted. Jack Pfeffer wanted everyone. Okay.
Jack fucking Pfeffer, which, again, I get it because he had the fucking, fake name, confusingly similar guys like Hobo Brazil and Bruno Sammartino and
Hobo Brazil.
Guys.
Have you ever heard the Bozo Brazier story?
Oh yeah, I've heard it, where he's in the locker room down at Louisville Gardens, and the security guy's like, "Oh yeah, that's that wrestler, Bozo
Brazier," and then Bobo in the background goes, 40 years in the business, and it's Brozo Brazier.
30 years. Because I think him and Sheik debuted around the same time.
Oh, that shit was fucking hilarious. That and hearing Ernie Ladd impressions are fucking hilarious.
Bundy! You
Bundy, you big dumb son of a bitch.
You come in here and you dumbed yourself right out of position. Well, I think it's because fucking Ernie Ladd had just such an iconic voice.
Yeah, hearing
an iconic way of talking.
Mid-South, like, again, only hearing his, like, people do impressions of something from stories literally does it no fucking credence. When you hear him cut that promo, any promo in Mid-South.
Hell, go listen to him when he came into Georgia and he was going against fucking Wally McDaniel. That drunk Indian. He's out there drunk in a teepee.
Yeah, his cadence will forever. He had the weirdest cadence. Like, let me put it like this: Ernie Ladd was his generation's Keith Lee in terms of the weird cadence with how they put their promos together.
Well, now Keith Lee was definitely way more articulate than Ernie Ladd.
But Keith Lee wasn't a guy from the South, born in the South in the early 30s and raised through segregation either.
Yeah, true. And
you got to remember, at that time when Ernie Ladd was growing up, black people weren't really allowed to be educated or as educated. So, like, in terms of him not being the brightest bulb or the most articulate bulb, I don't hold it against him. It's more of the time he was brought up in.
Yeah, I get it.
All right, though, Brandon, we're going on the 2.5 hour mark. You want to end this show?
Sorry, I hit the wrong button. What were you saying?
No, I was saying we're on the 2.5 hour mark. You want to end this soon?
Yeah, I think we're just about wrapping it up. We'll be back next year for episode 4. I want to thank Main Event Hub for helping us broadcast.
Thank you, Hub.
We hit 570 views of the show today, which is the most that we've ever had. Granted, it's also been 3 episodes, but still, it's been the most we've ever had. And I appreciate everyone who came in and joined today. And I hope everyone has a happy new year, and we will see you next Sunday.
And also awful predictions tomorrow.
As long as DJ is still alive. Otherwise it'll just be the heel show. Have a good one, guys.